Hello, class. My name is Kaylee Brewer, and today I'm going to be talking about Sarah J Maas. She is a very popular fantasy romance author that is actually really popular today. Who is Sarah J Maas? She is an American fantasy author. She was born in March of 1986. Sarah J Maas is known for strong female characters, and she writes about fantasy, romance, and adventure, and she's very popular worldwide. Her early life and career. She started writing her first series at 16. She just did an interview recently. It said that she was actually 16 when she wrote Throne of Glass, and she wrote it online. She gained a lot of her popularity before she even published her series, and now she is a #1 best-selling author. So, Throne of Glass was her first series. This was published from 2012 to 2018. This series follows a highly skilled assassin trying to earn her freedom. It takes place in a kingdom where magic has disappeared. There is no magic whatsoever. It starts with a competition, but grows into something much bigger. There's a lot of different things that are at stake. There's a lot of hidden secrets. There's a lot of danger. There's a lot of action. And eventually it introduces into a large fantasy world. There are 8 total books in this series. The most recent one just was released in 2018, but it follows, technically it should be before the first book that she wrote. So it's kind of interesting how you can interchange where you read that book. You can either read it first, you can read it after the first 2, or you can read it last, like a lot of people did because they were waiting for it. Throne of Glass continued. It focuses on identity and self-discovery. The character, Selena, shows loyalty, power, and responsibility. Where she starts off at the beginning of the book is not where she ends at the end of the book. There's a lot of growth, and this book series expands into a complex fantasy world, and there's a lot of different storylines that are in this book, not just her storyline. There's a whole book that doesn't even follow her storyline. It's a different couple's storyline, but it's happening at the same time on the continent, so it's kind of interesting how to read it. When I read it, I did a tandem read, so I read both the books at the same time. I just read certain chapters certain times. Her next series, which is my favorite series, is A Court of Thorns and Roses, or ACOTAR. This was published in 2015, and it is still currently being written. There are 2 books coming out in the next year to follow up with this series, and who knows if there's going to be more. This one follows a girl who enters a magical fey world, or fairy world. She must learn how to survive in a dangerous place. It's inspired by classic fairy tales, so the first book is kind of similar to Beauty and the Beast. This one's a mix of fantasy, romance, and adventure. So it's not just fantasy, it's not just romance. It's both, or what in the book world we call it as romantasy. These books focuses on relationships and emotional experiences. So far there's only 5 books out, like I said, but there's 2 more coming out this year, and that's not even finishing up the last storyline, so there should be probably 2 more coming out. We just don't know when yet. Over here is The Night Court. You don't know much about that until on the second book. But it explores trust, relationships, and personal growth. A lot of this is focuses on healing and overcoming challenges, especially the last book. This has a strong emotional storytelling or storyline. I know I've cried in a few different books. That's her second series. I think this came out after Throne of Glass. And then this is our third series. This is 2020. This is Crescent City, published in 2020. It says present, but we haven't heard anything from Sarah J Maas if there's going to be more books on this yet or not. But this takes place in a modern city filled with magical creatures. So this one's more modern day technology. They have phones, they have cars, they have trains, they have all the stuff that we do in our world. This follows a young girl, Bryce Quinlan, dealing with a lot of loss and change. Right off the get-go, you see her experience a lot of loss, and she's very upset about it. There's a mystery that she needs to uncover, and it pulls her into a really deep investigation. This combines fantasy with crime and action. So there's crime, fantasy, action. Crescent City focuses on grief, friendship, and resilience. It's fast-paced with both action and emotional moments. So it also, like I said, blends modern-day technology with fantasy. This is some fan art that I found off the internet about what people think they look like based off of how they are described. This is Bryce, and then this is Hunt, the two main characters. In conclusion, Sarah J Maas is a huge leading fantasy author today. She has created 3 very, very, very successful book series. I think there's a lot of people that have read these books. Me specifically, I read all of them. I finished them very quickly because I could not put them down. She just has really strong characters, a lot of strong female characters, and emotional storytelling. She knows how to get a reader to feel something when they're reading the book. Her books combine magic, romance, and adventure. They're all kind of the same, just different. She does have fantasy in all of them, but it's all different fantasy. It's never the same. There's always different elements to it. But yeah, I think you definitely should check these books out if you like fantasy. I know a lot of people that don't like fantasy and still have read them. Thank you for listening.